and welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to be doing a very popular tag on YouTube right now. I've seen it on a couple of my favorite channels and I thought, hey, why don't I do one myself? The video is 10 baby names that I love but will not be using. Now I am not done having babies, I've actually just started. This is my daughter right here, Ren. She's 4 months old. We're gonna see how long she lasts down there. Hi, sweetie. So she is in her jumperoo at the moment and she may come and join us up here. We're gonna see how it goes, yeah. So hopefully you don't mind a little bouncy, probably a little toy noise in the background there. So 10 baby names that I love but will not be using. So I am gonna be going through 5 boy names and 5 girl names that I like. Some of the names on this list were ones that my husband and I were tossing around when we were looking for names for our baby. And this was really before we knew if it was a boy or a girl, because when we found out it was a girl, we both loved the name Ren and it was kind of a no-brainer that we were gonna go for that one. So the 5 girl names that I love but will not be using. The first name is Rose, and I just think this is such a pretty name. I love that it is an earthy, natural name. I think you can't really go wrong with flower name. They all come across so feminine and pretty. I love that it is short. Obviously we went with a short name for Ren, and it's just one of those kind of classic timeless names that I think you can't really go wrong with. Okay, the second name is kind of an odd one. I'm not gonna lie, I got this from a celebrity. Busy Phillips is an actress, named her daughter this years ago, and it's always kind of stuck with me. However, after naming my daughter Ren, which is a little bird, I would never have gotten away with naming a second daughter this, and that is Cricket. So I think if I did have a second daughter and I named her after a bug, she'd probably be going after me the rest of her life saying, Mom, you named older sister after a bird and I got to be a bug? Yes, it's kind of an odd name, but I think it is so sweet. I think Cricket, little Cricket, it makes me think of nature and camping and being out in the wilderness and hearing the crickets in the background. Something about that name just seems so darling and so earthy again. I think there's a theme here. Yeah, I love that name, but won't be using it. Another name that I have always loved, honestly, as long back as I can remember, is Jane. Now, I think this comes from my love of English literature. One of my favorite authors, Jane Austen. I just think it is such a classic, beautiful, again, nice and short word. The reason that I will not be using this baby name is that one of my little cousins, and actually my goddaughter, is called Jane. And I remember, I think I was like 14 or 15 when she was born, and my aunt called her Jane, and I was like, no, I love that name. Of course, you can repeat names within the family, but I think I just wanted my own unique names for my children, so we will not be using Jane, but it is just such a beautiful classic name, straight from English literature. Obviously, Jane Bennet in Pride and Prejudice. Oh, I love it. So pretty. Another name that I love for girls is Grace. Again, a name that I have loved for many years. It's so elegant and pretty. Again, it's a nice short name. My cat is gonna come for a visit. Hi, sweetie. There's so much femininity in the word itself. There goes my cat. I just think it is so pretty, and one of my favorite names. The reason that I chose not to use Grace for our daughter was a couple years before my daughter was born, my grandma got a dog and called her Gracie, and as soon as I heard that she called her Gracie, I was like, okay, well that name's off the list because I don't really want my daughter to think she was named after a dog. So goodbye, Grace, but beautiful name nonetheless. The next name that I love but will not be using is, okay, this one's really odd, Zuzu. Does anybody remember the movie What a Wonderful Life? One of my favorite movies of all time, and the littlest girl in that family in the movie was Zuzu. Now obviously Zuzu, I believe in the movie, was short for Suzanne, but I love, love, love Zuzu, and I actually tried to convince my husband that we should call Ren Zuzu and make that her middle name. He really was not a fan, so that kind of got put on the chopping block pretty quick, but I still love it. I think if you name your daughter Zuzu, how unique would that be? Oh, I love it. And like, how many names start with Z? I think names that start with like letters that aren't used very often are really funky. Ren, it starts with a W. I don't know, just a little bit of uniqueness. Zuzu to me is such a cute name because I always picture the little girl in What a Wonderful Life, where she's got her little curls and she has her little flower from her teacher and the famous line at the end, every time a bell rings, an angel gets his wings. I mean, how sweet. Zuzu is such a cute name. So as sad as I was to not have that as my daughter's middle name, I still love it, and I don't think I'm gonna be able to convince my husband to use it for future babies. So it is a name that I love, but not gonna be able to use. So on to boy names. Now, obviously I do not have a son yet. Maybe I will, maybe I won't, I don't know. But these are some names that I really, really love for boys, but for the reasons that I'm going to mention, probably will not be using. Now, this was kind of our boy name before we found out Ren was gonna be a girl, so it was gonna be Ren for a girl and Oliver for a boy. We weren't 100% sure we were gonna use it. I think it is, again, such a classic name. Obviously, it kind of brings up emotions of like English literature, Oliver Twist, and then you get into kind of that Dickens realm, and it is a super popular one, and I think that was maybe one of the reasons that we were steering away from it, was just that it seemed like it was growing in popularity, and I pictured my little boy going into elementary school and every second kid was Oliver. So obviously we didn't use it because we had a girl, and for the reasons I just said, I don't think I will be using it going forward. Another boy name that I love but will not be using is Noah. Oh, I love the name Noah. Before I ever had kids, I only have one, but before I ever thought about getting pregnant, Noah was always kind of my go-to name for a boy, and I really thought if I had a boy, I would call him Noah. I don't think I will be using it just because, again, it's a name that is really popular, and I feel like every handful of boys I meet has a Noah in it, and I just want to choose a name that has a little bit more kind of a unique quality to it. Beautiful name, but probably off the list for us. Another name that I loved when I was kind of looking for names if our baby was going to be a boy was Cedar. Again, kind of an odd one, and it was cut pretty quick by my husband off the list. But the reason that I loved it was, again, it just has that really earthy, natural kind of woodland feel to it. I feel like you cannot go wrong with words that are derived from nature. Cedar, I feel like that's a good name for a guy. Okay, the next boy name that I really liked, and again, kind of playing on the same like woodland theme, is River. I probably won't be using it because in the same way that my husband didn't really like Cedar, I don't think he'd be so down for River. I think maybe especially for boys, he wants something a little bit more traditional. I don't know, this is just my guess. I think River is a cool name, and especially if you named it with like River and then had it with like a really like, well, you know what? Actually, River would be a really cool middle name, like Jack River. Maybe that's too much like Jack the Ripper. Ugh. Not what we're going for here, guys. River is a cool name. It's on my list, but on my not gonna be using list. Okay, the last boy name that I really like and will not be using, most likely, is Zion. Is that how you say it? Zion, I'm not really sure. But I think written down, it looks really cool. Has a Z, again, kind of going with that thing that I said about Zuzu, about using letters that aren't commonly used. What do you think, Ren? Are you contributing? I believe it's a translation for Jerusalem. I could be wrong about that. For the reason that I'm having this issue, I don't really know how to say it, and I would fear that it would be difficult for people to kind of like read out. My name is Emelie, but it is spelled E-M-E-L-I-E. And I remember all through school, my teachers would call out my name and it was just never right. And I used to get really annoyed. I'm over it now. Am I over it? I don't know. Zion is a really cool name, but not one that I would choose for the reason that I don't really know how to say it, and I would fear that other people would also not know how to say it. Those are my names that I love and will not be using. I think my daughter has done really well, but she's getting a little bit annoyed to be in that jumperoo. So I'm gonna end the video here and say thank you so much for watching. If you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up. And subscribe to my channel if you're into, you know, mom life, DIY, and that kind of thing. Thank you so much for watching and have a great day. Hi, princess. Hi. Do you love jumping in your jumperoo?